Well, greetings to you today and welcome to our daily Devo for Tuesday, January the 16th. January the 16th. Today, our devotion is entitled The Arrest of Jesus. The Arrest of Jesus. Remember, that's a section of his life we're working through here that our author has broken out in steps like this. And so the cross is imminent. And obviously, this uh, this moment in Jesus's life is captured by all four gospel writers: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Um, it it's an unbelievable time, I'm sure, for all involved, as they did not have any suspicion that this kind of thing was on the calendar. What the arresting party expected and what they experienced were two different things. The arresting party made a couple of assumptions. First, they assumed Jesus would be hiding from them, so they contracted with an insider who knew Jesus's movements and arranged for a signal, lest there be confusion in the dark about who the Galilean was that they had come to arrest. Judas would kiss the man who was their target, the traditional Middle Eastern kiss on the cheek. Second, they expected a fight. So they planned the arrest as a surprise night operation that would minimize the number of those who might rally to resist Jesus' arrest. But just in case things went sideways, they came ready for a fight with overwhelming numbers, armed with swords and clubs. Needless to say, the arrest did not proceed as they expected because Jesus was no ordinary suspect. Instead of changing his behavior or patterns to disguise his location, Jesus takes the disciples to the place they had always gone on the Mount of Olives, making him easy to locate, John 18:2. Instead of running and hiding, Jesus approaches the arresting party. Instead of withdrawing into the crowd, Jesus stepped forward and identified himself as the man they had come to arrest. When the arresting party stepped back and fell to the ground, Jesus again identified himself and chided them for not being about their task. Peter created a distraction by pulling a knife and cutting off the ear of Malchus, the high priest's servant. But instead of using the moment's confusion to flee, Jesus ordered Peter to put away his sword and healed the man's ear. And although he had the power to summon 72,000 angels to his defense, one of which could have done the job, Jesus yielded to the imperative that it must happen in this way. He was compliant, cooperative, even encouraging. Jesus surrendered voluntarily because he was not focused on saving himself, but the world from sin. I love the way our author words things and captures the points that he makes. Jesus knew this was going to happen. He could have made all kinds of plans to escape from it, to not be caught up, to not be arrested in the middle of the night. He could have made plans that would have forced them to do it in the day, if that's what he wanted to have happen. He was in charge of this. He was in command of this, he and his Father. His enemies are surprised because they figured Jesus will act like them. He'll run and hide. He'll want to cause some kind of stir. He'll want to rally his supporters and cause an issue of some kind to raise up the crowds to come and help him, come to his defense. They couldn't have been more surprised. They're shocked. Jesus steps forward. I'm the one you're looking for. Let these guys go. They don't mean anything to you in what you're trying to get after here. And they fall back. A lot of speculation on that falling back thing. Some believe, and I tend to go toward this, is that as Jesus speaks in the power of who he is, it's spiritual warfare. And the forces that are in their spirit that they've come in are forced to step back. But yet he stays there and he says, well, do your job. Come on. Judas has done the kiss on the cheek. He's pointed who Jesus is out to them, but he didn't even need to do that because Jesus said, here I am. It's an amazing story. It really is an amazing story, an amazing event that he who had the real power on that night surrendered himself to those who really had no power, not kingdom power, not spiritual power. I cannot help, and excuse me if this seems inappropriate. Jesus did not encourage his followers to be violent. He rebuked Peter. He healed the man that Peter wounded. This was not about stirring up rebellion. This was not about an event like January 6th. This was about Jesus yielding himself to the Father's will for the salvation of this world. His is a love, as we talked about this past Sunday, his is a sacrificial love, a selfless love that he displayed that night. There's an old hymn. He could have called, I don't know if it's considered a hymn or just a Christian song. He could have called 10,000 angels. And as the author says here, one could have done the job. That's all it would have taken. And yet Jesus does not fall back on that. He wants the Father's will. He wants the Father's glory to be seen through what is about to transpire in the trials and the cross and the empty tomb. That's how we need to live as well. Trust the Lord that his will is being worked out in the middle of difficulty. Stop trying to defend ourselves. Stop trying to show that the other side is wrong. Our lives are in his hands. And I'm pretty sure we can trust what he has planned for us. Blessings to you today on this Tuesday.